What's up, nerds? We're your hosts this week. I am Chad.
I am Jake.
This week we are sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
We are also sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
So this week we have an awesome guest from LARP USA.
We're also going to be talking about Hawkeye on Disney Plus, episode 1 and 2. So, let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome back, everybody, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. So, Jake, how was your week?
Not good. I got this like pinched nerve in my neck. I think that's what it is. Between your conversation and my conversation about it, sounds like that's exactly what it is. It's been going on for like 2 weeks. It's a good time. Other than that, I do want to talk about a couple things. There's a movie coming out by Guillermo del Toro. It's called Nightmare Alley. It comes out on December 17th, which is a terrible idea. It's such a bad idea. I feel so bad for this movie because
It looks awesome.
I think it looks good, and I love Guillermo del Toro. He's one of my favorite. He did Pan's Labyrinth. For people who don't know who he is, he also did Mama. But yeah,
Mama?
yeah, Mama.
Mother?
No, Mama.
No. I don't think I've seen Mama then.
Oh, it's creepy.
That's
You
probably
wouldn't
why I
have watched
haven't.
it.
That's
Yeah, I
probably
was
why
like-
I haven't seen it.
So you wouldn't have watched it. It's a scary
I'm
movie.
trying, so I will add it to my things to watch list.
But unfortunately for Guillermo del Toro, December 17th is the same date that Spider-Man No Way Home is releasing. So even if Nightmare Alley is a good movie, which I'm not,
I'm assuming it will be.
yeah, it's gonna fail at the box office, and that's really unfortunate.
But what Del Toro has going for him is that he has like a cult following almost.
Yeah.
And a lot of his movies become cult classics. Oh, you drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I love
Blue
Guillermo del
raspberry,
Toro.
right? That's what I
Have you-
remember it being.
Have you ever seen Have you seen any of his movies? Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
I love Pan's Labyrinth. It was a
It's so
creepy movie, but it was
fucking good.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways,
But so in
unfortunate
that
timing.
in that aspect, I think that the movie will do just fine because he has very diehard fans.
Yeah.
It just sucks for box office numbers because it's coming out, with the most highly anticipated movie basically since Avengers Endgame,
Yeah.
which is, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
But hey, this week I watched all of the Umbrella Academy so far.
Yeah.
I watched both seasons in a week because I guess I had time for it somehow.
Yeah.
It's called Not
Who's y-
Sleeping.
Who's your favorite character?
Oh, easily Klaus.
Klaus is also my favorite character.
Um,
I love number 5 because he's a grumpy old man, and guess what? I'm a grumpy old man.
And he's in a young body.
And he's I'm not in a young body. I'm 34.
Yeah, but you're a good 30 years older in your mind, based on how you yell at people to stay off your lawn, and
yeah.
if a dog barks, you're like, "Hey, knock it off!"
I yell at my dog and my girlfriend's dog all day, and it is comforting. I feel like I'm like growing into my age very well. I'm progressing exactly how I should be. I was born like 60 years old, and I'm just kind of growing into that.
It's like a weird Benjamin Button aspect. Yeah. Your mind is already 83, and you're just slowly getting there.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I mean, in the second season, I love Luther, or number one, because he was kind of like the Captain America of the team, like the dutiful soldier. And then he learned that
his dad was a piece of shit.
Well, and that it was a lie, and that his dad didn't care about him because of his mutation.
Yeah, his deformity. Yeah.
So that's why he sent him on super secret missions, was so that he didn't have to see him.
The moon mission specifically.
Yeah.
Sent him to the moon.
So I feel bad about that, but once he figures it out, he's just he's a snarky asshole, but he's got the frat bro jock mentality. Yeah. So he's a little dumb, but in a super funny way.
I also really like oh god, I already forgot his name. We just talked about this too. The
Ben?
Ghost.
The one that Ben.
Yeah. He's basically dead, but his ghost is still around. He plays big into the finale of season 2. I like him. He's one of my favorites.
And Klaus, who we said right off the bat, is both of our favorites.
Yeah.
His ability is that he can speak to the dead, so that's why Ben has been lingering.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is because we get a lot of side stories, side commentary between their banter, which is just great. But once that ended, because I finished that yesterday, so I started watching Hit Monkey on Hulu, the Marvel animated show based on the graphic novel, and my God, is this fantastic! It's hilarious. I'm only 2 episodes in. I just started it. They're half-hour episodes, but Jason Sudeikis is in it. Also, George Takei is one of the main voice actors, and oh my.
That's Sulu from the original Star Trek, right? Yeah.
From the original, yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
I haven't watched it yet. I'll get into it.
Yeah, check it out. It's really entertaining. I've been tempted.
I just haven't took that step yet. But yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Also, we'll talk about it probably next week. Or no, not next week. I'm sorry. We'll talk about it. How we did the Spider-Man trailer. We just did a 15-minute or 15, 20 minute
20
video.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Ghostbusters because this movie was so fucking fire, dude. It was so good.
God, I loved this movie. This is how I spent my Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We
don't
I got Chinese food with my dad for dinner, and then we went and saw Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
In reverse order. But yeah.
We unfortunately don't have enough time to talk about it in this episode. But we're going to make a 15 to 20 minute episode. We'll record it tomorrow. It'll probably come out Wednesday or Thursday, talking about this movie separately from our actual podcast. Why the fuck? I don't remember. I'm looking at my notes. I wrote vegan on here. Why did I write that?
Oh, because of your Thanksgiving.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because for those of you that are not celebrating the colonizer holiday, I can say that because
you're a colonizer. I get you.
Privilege, I guess.
Hey, colonizer.
Not thrilled about it.
I'm kidding. What's up, Lance? If you ever see this, Modern Warrior, not Modern Warrior. Yeah, Modern Warrior, right?
I think that's what his tag is. If not, I'll tag him either way.
No, it's fine. Oh, sorry, I almost thought I screamed the wrong thing. The douchebag that was fighting with him was Modern Patriot.
No, Misfit Patriot.
Misfit Patriot, yeah. Modern Warrior is who. Yeah. Modern Warrior is the guy. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't like celebrating Thanksgiving because I am POC and my beliefs on this are, whatever. I did go to my girlfriend's house for Thanksgiving, and because I had no idea they were gonna do this, I made some jalapeno poppers. It was kind of like a potluck type of thing, and my girlfriend's family made a bunch of vegan food because they knew that I don't eat that I'm vegan, and it was a very nice thing to do. I was not expecting it. It wasn't just like her parents; it was like everybody that came made one thing, and then they made the same thing but vegan. It was a very touching
It's
moment.
so awesome.
Yeah, I again, I did not, and I do not. I did not want to participate in Thanksgiving because I think it's a bullshit holiday, and I hate what it represents. I did so because I love my girlfriend very much, and her parents, were into this. So, uh, yeah, I do want to just go on record here and say that fuck Thanksgiving and fuck everything it represents.
As a non-POC,
Yeah.
my family has never been. I mean, I guess when I was really little, we did, but like recent memories, like the past decade, like we just used it as an excuse to like get together for like a family dinner,
Yeah.
and that was it. And
Yeah.
we never did like turkey or ham or anything like that. Like it would just be like a nice home cooked meal. Which, because also like, fuck Thanksgiving. Like,
Fuck Thanksgiving. Yeah.
oh yeah, let's celebrate like the first documented American biological warfare. Yay, smallpox,
Yeah.
smallpox blankets.
Smallpox.
Yeah,
Smallpox, genocide, rape. Yeah. Woo.
pillaging, dislocations.
Let's celebrate this day. Sounds fantastic. Douchebag.
Woo.
Douchebag holiday. Douchebag holiday.
Hey, we got a day off of work for it.
I was gonna say I'll take the day off of work, but fuck that holiday.
Thursdays are normally my day off of work, so I got a bonus day, so that was cool.
Yeah. The only other thing I really in this portion of our thing that we wanted to talk about was recently we both watched until just now before we started writing this. We didn't know that we both watched Tick Tick Boom
Oh my
on Netflix.
God.
It's Andrew Garfield portraying
Jonathan Larson.
Jonathan Larson,
It's
who wrote,
kind of like a biopic of
he wrote
Rent.
Rent. He wrote Rent, but he also wrote a number of other plays before he wrote Rent.
He's only credited with only 3 real musicals because he died prematurely because of an aneurysm.
And I didn't know this until I watched this movie, but he died the day before Rent went on Broadway from a oh my God.
I know a cardiac.
It wasn't.
A cardiac.
No, it wasn't cardiac.
It was an aneurysm in his heart.
Yeah.
It was a cardiac aneurysm.
Aneurysm. Yeah. Sorry. No, when I think of aneurysm, it's in the head. But yeah. I'm trying to remember which. Whatever. Anyways, he died the night before his huge. Rent is huge.
Yeah. He won 6 or 7 Tonys post-mortem.
Yeah.
For Rent.
And he died the night before it was supposed. Before it, not supposed to, but before the night it went on Broadway.
Yeah, before the premiere.
Yeah.
Which is heartbreaking.
Insane. But he made these other plays, one of which before Rent was Tick Tick Boom. And yeah, the movie is really good. Andrew Garfield did an awesome job portraying John Larson.
Absolutely slayed the role.
Of course. Yeah.
And he learned how to sing to play this role.
For this one, yeah. I read that too. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
So it was actually him singing like the whole movie, which is really cool.
So good. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Tick Tick Boom is about the play itself is a musical monologue. Basically, it's it was originally Jonathan Larson sitting at a piano singing, and then he had a backing band, and it basically was like a monologue play, almost like a one band performance, but he had a backing band. But it was just him like retelling stories, but in a theatrical way and in a singer-songwriter sort of way, but with monologues in between. And that's what this movie is it basically took that monologue and dramatized it and put it to the songs that he wrote. And oh my God, it's so good.
Is aortic,
yeah. In his heart, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for correcting the phrasing.
I was like, the whole time you were talking, I was like, what the fuck is it? Yeah,
because it was in his, obviously, in the aortic artery. But no, this is super great. If you guys are, even if you're not fans of musicals, like, check this out because it's done so well. I hate to compare it, but if you guys aren't fans of musicals, but you like Disney movies where it's, like musical numbers spread throughout, that's what this is, and it's done incredibly well. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
Who did Hamilton.
Who wrote Hamilton, yeah.
Is the director of this, and it's absolutely incredible.
I actually didn't know it was a musical when I watched it. And I saw the preview for it on Netflix, and I was like, well, this looks interesting, and I was maybe a little hungover. And so I was like, I'm gonna watch this. And I watched it, and I was like, oh, it's a musical? Lame. And then, I kept watching it, and I was like, damn, this movie's fucking good. It's super good.
Instantly, a favorite musical.
Yeah.
Instantly. And, I never saw, well, because it was only produced for a short amount of time, but I knew nothing about Tick, Tick, Boom before this movie.
Same.
Incredible. I mean, I've seen Rent, but not live, but the movie version. But anyways, incredible. I think we took up enough time about that. Just want to throw out there that the Vikings lost because of bullshit. Yay, Minnesota sports. Two
calls. I'm gonna briefly go over them because
you have to.
Fuck that shit.
You're able to watch them. I don't get the Vikings games in Ohio, and it sucks.
Adam Thielen caught a pass. It was a clear fucking catch. He caught it. He hit the ground. His hands were under the ball. He had control of the ball the entire time. Even the announcers were like, that's a catch. And then we went to break so they could review it when we came back from the break. They were like, well, they ruled it an incomplete pass. And it was like, what? And that resulted in a fucking touchdown for the fucking 49ers. And then another thing that happened during the game was a pass interference. It was a really bad pass interference, and it never got called. And they ended up winning by 8 points. It was bullshit, and fuck that, and fuck it. Go to sponsor one.
Yes. Now. So because of that, we're just going to move right past it because obviously, as Minnesota sports fans, that sucks, and it sucks more because bullshit. It's a bullshit loss. We're used to losing as Minnesota sports fans. So we're going to talk about our first sponsor before we get into this interview segment. So we are sponsored by Raise Energy Drinks by Rep Sports. Fantastic energy drinks, 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 crash. Absolutely incredible. They've got a ton of flavors and so much more than just energy drinks if that's not your thing. So listen up. You'll learn how to save 15% on your order. And then when we come back from this segment, we're going to be talking with Joel from LARP USA. Listen up. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their refresh formula technology. Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
Okay, welcome back to the All Things Nerd podcast, guys. We are joined with Joel from LARP USA, and we're going to cheers in with our shot here. So what are you sipping on there, Joel?
This is Fireball, actually. It's the only liquor
Fireball?
I had in my house.
Nice. All right,
Cheers,
cheers.
man.
Cheers.
So I guess just to kick things off, tell us a little bit about yourself, Joel, and what is LARP?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Joel Hardcastle. I live in Southwest Michigan. I've been participating in some variation of LARP since I was about 13. I started out with a full contact game called Dagger Here, where, I mean, at 13, I was wearing ripped up t-shirts and, cut off khaki pants and just hitting my friends with sticks. And then it's just kind of snowballed from there. But LARP, I would say, is really just anything that you make it. It's pretty much just doing anything that you wouldn't normally be doing. For example, dressing up like a knight, dressing up like a cyborg, dressing up like an outlaw in the Wild West, whatever that may be, whatever fits the game that you're trying to play. And that's really what it is for me. It's just, excuse me, it's just another excuse to dress up like a scary monster or, a knight and act like either an asshole or some kind of hero, I guess, depending on setting. So,
For sure. And what does LARP stand for people that are listening that don't know?
Oh, I'm sorry. LARP stands for live action role playing.
Okay, perfect.
And the live action is the act of doing it, obviously, and then the role playing is being the character and putting yourself into the situation, depending on what that may be.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you said that you've been doing this since, you're about 13 or so, but how did you really get into LARP?
Yeah, so I went to a festival in my hometown, just like a stereotypical fall festival, and there were these group of guys. At the time, I remember them being like just fucking gigantic. Now that I'm an adult, I see them and I'm like, I'm bigger than you guys. Like, this is weird. But as a little 13-year-old boy, it was like, okay, cool. I'm going to like go hang out with these dudes that are in like a list, which is just like the roped off area where like a knight would be fighting or whatever. They were doing combat demos and we would go out there and they'd let us fight with them. And I was just kind of hooked. I ended up moving about 30 minutes away to the city that those guys were based out of when I was 14. So I ended up joining up with them. And I actually sort of declared my love for orcdom, for lack of a better term. Then at a very young age, I decided I would be an orc. And it's because when I got to the practice, the people that I knew were playing orcs. So originally I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be an elf. I'm going to wear it, don't tell anybody this now. Oh shit. This is damn, the secret.
We can edit it out if you don't want it in there, but
no, it's
okay.
Fine. So I actually started off like, as every kid does. I saw Lord of the Rings. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be Legolas. I'm going to wear pointy ears and use a bow. And then I got there and it was like, no, man, you suck. Like, so I went with the people that I recognized and started painting my skin green. And then just kind of went from there.
Sweet, dude.
That's awesome. So then how did that evolve into like LARP USA, and what is LARP USA?
So LARP USA, it actually, it's not really, shit, sorry, I'm kind of blanking. You might have to edit this part out.
All good, man.
No, LARP USA was just sort of like a rallying, like a call to U.S. LARPers to start using the hashtag LARP USA. Because like if you
Oh,
look up hashtags from other countries, like hashtag LARP Germany, LARP Deutschland, like LARP US. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, that
You're,
fireball apparently.
you're
it's
Uh, no, the like all the other countries that have like really prominent LARP scenes have like a hashtag LARP and then that
okay.
country. So I have a ton of friends just from all over the world that I've met through like various things LARP related. And a buddy of mine actually lives in Germany and works for a LARP company there called Bergschneider. So he's, increased my network exponentially because he knows all these people and then he's introducing them to me and all this. So I started LARP USA with the simple goal of just getting as many followers as I could, posting a bunch of pictures with the hashtag LARP USA, and doing just giveaways, discount codes, like that kind of stuff. I really wanted it to be sort of like a community meeting place almost. And like I mentioned before we got started, I'm not featured on it at all. Like I know what I do, but it's really, I didn't make that page so that I could get myself, that recognition. Like I wanted it to be more like a showcase for like just exceptional US LARPers that I know that don't get the recognition that they do, or that they deserve rather.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so that's sort of the basis, and then it's grown from there a little bit. I mean, we only have 400 something followers right now. I'm grateful for everybody that follows us, obviously, and we're growing a lot too. I've got a couple things for like a 500 follower giveaway. I love giveaways. Oh man, I love giveaways. I can't stress that enough.
We do
I'm
too.
like, here's a sword. Yeah, right. Like who doesn't? Like, yeah, like this photo and you might win some free shit. It's like, okay,
Right. Yeah.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, we can relate.
Yeah,
We do shit like that too.
Yeah, it's amazing, and that's really all I wanted. But now it's kind of evolved into like the storytelling side of things too. So like I've been reaching out to people and just being like, hey, we want to feature something that you've done. Send us a picture or two and like some details. And obviously, if they have a story that they want, like that's fine. But I've ended up writing a lot of them, and I have a buddy in Portland who's helped me write a couple of them as well. So it's kind of the two of us tackling like the engagement side, and then I handle most of the posts. But
that's awesome.
That's cool, dude. So this one's kind of weird, but so like when like movies or TV and stuff like that depict like LARPing, is that something that you think is funny or is it offensive to you? Because like like for example, like we'll be talking about the Hawkeye series, and in episode 2 of Hawkeye, there's it's episode 2. There's a LARP scene, also like Supernatural. I don't know if you've ever watched that show. Is in there. What was the other one?
The movie Role Models.
Oh, Role Models. Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
So is that like something that you like find like funny, or is that like kind of offensive to you?
So this is actually I'll give you the long version. I'll shorten it. It's the long short version. So when I was doing strictly dagger here, and like strictly like full combat, full contact, we didn't do a whole lot of the RP stuff. If you said something about dagger here being a LARP around anybody, they'd be like, whoa, like pump the brakes, guy. Like dagger here's not a LARP. Like for whatever reason, there's like this mindset that we're not that level of nerdy. It's like we're cooler than that because we're just hitting each other really hard, when in actuality like it's 100% a LARP. It's just a different version.
Sure.
So a lot of what we got was Role Models. So I would say like rewind 10 years, if somebody was like, oh yeah, like you do that thing like in Role Models, I'd be like, fuck you, guy. But like now it's like I hear that and I'm like, yeah, kind of like it's not quite as cringy.
Well, like when you watched, I assume have you seen it?
I have many times.
Like, did you think it was funny? Like when you watched it, like, doing what you were doing, where you were like, "This is fucking funny," or were you
absolutely
like, "These fucking assholes"? Like,
yeah, like that guy, the guy in like the little wings in the tree, like ringing the bell. Like, yeah, I'm all about it. No, I've always thought that was hilarious. Yeah,
sweet. Yeah, we run these questions down between each other when before we do this, and I was like, I want to ask him this, but like, is this an asshole question to ask?
I've heard worse. I guarantee it. I've heard way worse.
I mean, I'm very interested in this. I've never done it. We went to Comic-Con this year in New York City, and neither of us dressed up. And like we got there, and I feel like we were the people that were like out of place because we weren't dressed up, and we're like, fuck, next time we're dressing up. Like, so
Definitely.
yeah.
So with that, because like cosplay, I mean, obviously it's different, but they kind of share that commonality of you disappear into a character. Like what are your thoughts on that? Like, obviously we see some costumes behind you.
Yeah, let's hear about the costumes behind you if you don't mind. That would be awesome.
Tell us a little bit of backstory on some of the mirrors.
Yeah.
Which question should I do first?
His first. Sorry, I jumped in.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
all right.
like how invested to, well, first off you, but then like the average LARPer get into like your characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think it kind of depends. A lot of the games that are prominent in the US, I say a lot. There's a couple and they're larger, and I think that's because they're easier to get into. If you go to a park and people are playing, Belagarth or Hearthlight or one of those, or Amtgard even, and those are all like more full contact with Amtgard. I know Amtgard has classes. I've never actually played it. But I know they have classes and they get a little bit further into like the magic and like the crafting and that kind of thing. But if you go to a park and they're doing that, I would say it's a lot more likely that they'll have like loner gear. So like if you just went up in your street clothes and you saw, these kids beating the hell out of each other, you could be like, hey, can I try this? And I guarantee they're going to be like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like we have a trunk full of gear. I also know that I led a group of like 40 people for a decade, so we had so much loner gear. Oh my god, that's the thing they don't tell you when you get into this is like you're gonna need an extra room to keep all your shit.
They actually showed that in Hawkeye, the episode 2. I didn't get that until now because I was
handing the stuff out.
They like gave him
they're
like, hey, you're gonna have to play if you want to be here. You have to play, and he's like, what? And
I have some thoughts. That one was so I enjoyed that. Obviously, any representation of it that I see, I'm always comparing it to like my experiences. But I've never been to a game where they had someone like standing guard like that, where they were like, "No, you have to register. Get out of here!" Like, yeah. And then like he walks up and they hand him a scroll and they're like, "This is what you do. This is your life." And then like he just walked in and there's just people doing the same like guard over and over again. And I'm like, I don't know. That feels like
clearly they didn't do their research or have anybody who's ever LARPed before set that up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny
that versus what it is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like it's almost like that's what the people that wrote that scene thought the LARPing scene was versus what it actually is.
But it's interesting that they knew about the backup gear because that's not something I ever would have known about.
Yeah.
So when I saw that until just now, I was like, that's weird that they just had like loner gear, and then you said that, and I was like, oh, Hawkeye did that. So
oh yeah,
that's kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very common. Like if you go to an event, I guarantee there's somebody there with loner gear of some kind. I had a thought about it. I just have complaints about like, it's like, it's Ronin, right? It's the Ronin.
Yeah, the guy was wearing the Ronin costume. Yeah.
And I'm like, these Russian guys have been like trying to kill them because of the Russian costume, and then like this dude's just running around Central Park wearing it
and like posting it online.
Yeah, I'm like, that dude would be dead as hell. But that's not LARP related, anyways.
No, that's okay because we're talking on this episode. We're talking about Hawkeye, so that's actually really funny, and it'll tie in very well to what we were saying. So I'm going to go off script a little bit just because this is going to tie into what we're talking about already. One of the questions that we were going to ask you was if there's different kinds of LARPing, but judging by your costumes in the background, I assume that there are different ones because the only ones that are ever depicted in film or anything like that are like medieval and like you said, elves and orcs and stuff like that. So would you mind showing us your costumes and giving us a little in-depth? If you don't want to, you don't have to, but would you mind showing us and giving us a little in-depth about that?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. Do you want me to just like bring those over here and like
Yeah,
at
yeah, that'd
stuff?
be
Yeah, if
great.
that's
Yeah, our
easy.
viewers will
Or I
love
could
that.
awkwardly do it in the mirror too. But yeah,
Whatever is
give me
easier
one
for you.
second.
Yeah,
I'll grab them. See that? Okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fucking rad,
absolutely.
dude. Looks like Shredder helmet.
Yeah.
That's
So,
so cool.
this character's name is
Plank.
Reginald, and it's for a game called Vassal that some friends of mine started in the Midwest. We actually had like our first little gathering like last week, 2 weeks ago, and my character for that one is a human, and he's like I almost said recovered gang boss, but that's wrong because he's still very much involved in like the criminal underworld. But like I'm the right hand man of like a lord for this city, this fictional city called Vinderberg. So I mentioned earlier that I play an orc usually. Reginald is my first. It's my first time being a human, as weird as that sounds. So it's easy for me to be like, like an asshole as an orc because that's what people expect. Like nobody wants to have a conversation with me as an orc. Whereas Reginald, I have to like be a functioning member of society to at least like some point. So it's like it's difficult to go into a vassal game and be like, oh, I'm Reginald, like I'll fucking kill your character because I also have to walk the same streets as all those people. So that's an interesting one, but he's more of a heavy kit than I'm used to fighting in. I'm usually like a skirmisher guy where I, wear like light armor and run around, and just do like archery and that kind of thing. I actually have a crossbow for him. Let me grab that. It's like my favorite thing I own.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I said archery and was like, oh yeah, I almost forgot. Yeah,
Thing
so
is rad.
this is from an Etsy shop called Armors, and I believe they're temporarily shut down, which is a bummer. But
That is a bummer.
yeah, I went to sell one to somebody else, and I was like, oh no, they're shut down. But yeah, so Reginald started as like just like a light armored man at arms. I made a set of jack chains, which is like the poor man's plate armor. They like mount to the shoulder, then they have like smaller pieces that run down the arm, and then they like tie around the elbow, and then they have like an arming point at the wrist. And obviously, it's some level of protection, but it's not full arms. And then I got a promotion, so I had that big kid money, and I was like, okay, like I'm going full plate. So I like ordered these spring steel arms with shoulders, and like now I just look like a fucking monster.
How heavy is that
But
Like
how heavy is this? Like
that set of
altogether?
armor? Yeah.
So that aforementioned big kid money came in very handy. This is actually titanium. So that weighs nothing. I could pick that up with like just my pinky. It weighs virtually nothing.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from a guy named Pavel, and a buddy of mine actually has a matching set, which is super cool. So we look similar when we're on the field, which is nice.
So are you in
cool.
the one? So you said that there was ones where you kind of don't really hit each other hard, and then there's ones where you do hit each other hard. Are you in the ones where you do hit each other hard then, or no?
It's sort of an in-between. So the games that I started in were full contact. That's where you're like really wailing on each other, but there's like a point system. It's like if you get hit in the arm, you drop what you're carrying and put that behind your back. Or if you have armor on, you have 2 shots, so you have to get hit in the arm twice. And then torso is death unless you have armor on, and then it takes 2 hits to kill you that way.
Sure.
Headshots don't count. But the new games that I'm playing in now, Vassal is kind of an in-between. It's not like a lightest touch game, but it's not like a full-on like that probably looked a little suggestive. I'm sorry.
If you haven't noticed,
Did you walk out of there with like
have a
bruises and
nutsack
shit?
hanging
Like
from my
after
mouth.
after a match, or what do you call it? Like a match or a scrimmage, or
Most of the time we just call them events.
do you
or
walk out of there with
fights,
like bruises and
honestly.
shit, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Man, I tell you what, fighting with like a spear at Ragnarok, which is like a week-long event in Pennsylvania that I used to go to, that was like being hit by a fucking truck. It was like
No shit. Wow.
now I'm 30 and I'm like, I don't think I could do this anymore. Like, I don't know if I could go fight with a spear for 8
That's
hours.
crazy.
Like, man, I tell you what, I was in the best shape of my life when I was like 22, 23, like fighting
God,
like 3 or 4 days a week. Like, man, that is the only cardio I don't hate.
Fuck, I'm 34. Getting out of bed is fucking battle these days. So
I'm getting there, but I've got all kinds of like permanent wounds from fighting. So like at least I've got an excuse, I guess. I don't know.
I didn't know that. So
wild.
until talking to you, like this is a eye opening for me. I didn't know that you guys did that shit. I thought you guys like just faked everything. I didn't know you guys actually beat the shit out of each other. That's
cool. It totally depends on the game. Like there are games where there is minimal combat, or I mean there is full combat, but it's all very like theatrical and that kind of shit. Personally, and this could just be because of how I discovered it and how I got into it, the theatrical fighting doesn't really do it for me unless it's like something that's staged, like, oh hey man, you should stab me, you know, like something like that. I'd be like, okay, cool, but like on a field, I would much rather be actually like in it, which is pretty much where Vassal is. For most games, I've been told that I'm going to have to like kind of, God, this sounds so shitty because I don't want to be like, I'm so tough. Like it's a foam sword, but like there are games where like people don't want to get hit as hard as you can swing. And
Sure.
like with some of the weapons that we're using now for games like Vassal or for Reckoning, they're not made to be swung like that anyway, so they hurt a lot more. So short answer, yes, I usually have bruises. I've sprained my wrist, I've broken noses, I almost made a guy throw up one time from a spear shot to the stomach. Like, man, it was so good. I'll never forget the look on his face.
I've never done it, but I just met like talking to you and like picturing it in my head. I imagine myself in that situation, and there's no way I could pull punches. I would get so fucking carried away. Like there's no way, especially if somebody hurt me too. Like if somebody like hit me and it hurt, like I would be like, oh fuck this guy. Like I'm gonna hit this dude super hard now. Like, which is probably frowned upon, but
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Man, and I tell you what, like I still have like memories of my first big event where there's 300 people on a field. Like we this is when I was fighting with the orc unit when I was probably 19, 20. Yeah. We marched from camp. There's 30-40 of us all carrying spears, bows. We've got like way too many weapons. Like we're just marching to the field to fight. Like no big deal, whatever. We got to the field and immediately another line started forming across the field and just started fucking sprinting at us. And we were just like, oh God, like I'm trying to get a bow from over my shoulder, like trying to get my shield up and like just trying to be ready for this because it's like, oh shit, there's 60 people that are going to hit me as hard as they fucking can. Like it was crazy. Like, have you
ever like, so I guess, I'm way off script here, but I'm just curious now because I'm super interested. Have you ever like fucking like hit somebody super hard by accident and like break character, or do you not do that? Do you just like leave it? Or like if you hit somebody, are you like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that was an accident, I didn't mean to do that? Or if you hit them way too hard and they're like, dude, you dick, and you're just like, fucking, I'm going to the next guy, or like, how does that work?
So with the game that I came from, there wasn't a whole lot of character play. That actually came in, and it's one of the reasons that I actually left the game was because there wasn't enough character in the game. A lot of people, we call them stick jocks, they just go out to like wear like the bare minimum garb and just be very good at the game, which they do. They're all very good. They, I get run over a lot. But I have a couple of very, 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 very distinct memories of just rolling people just, oh my God, like, oh, holy shit, like I should probably leave the field because I look like a fucking dickhead moments. So like weapon on head means death, or like hand on head, whatever. Like that's, like universal. If you get hit, whatever, you're in the middle of like a line, you put your hand on your head, put your weapon on your head, whatever you have, like just to like tell the people around you, hey, I'm dead, like stop hitting me.
Yeah.
So there's occasionally people that just go out to do things like archery because they can't take being hit. And I have two very, very distinct memories, and I'll never forget what either of these people look like or the situation. So I break through a line, and like I said, I'm skirmishing, so I'm barefoot. I'm sprinting as fast as I fucking can. I'm trying to kill as many people before they kill my buddies. So I get through a line. I'm just running at these archers, and there's like a group of like 4 or 5 of them. This is the first instance. 4 or 5 of them, and I've got them. Like there's nowhere they can go. They don't have swords. I'm going to kill all 5 of these people so they can stop shooting at me and my friends. So I get about 5-6 feet away from this girl. I'm sprinting as fast as I can. And she goes, and I'm like, oh God. So I can't stop. And I rolled her end over end like 4 times. It was the most dramatic thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was just like, weapon on head. I was like, I'm fucking dead. Like I'm an asshole. Like I'm the asshole, but like just step out of the way or something. Like you see me. I'm not slow. Like come on.
I
that's
have
one.
momentum going. Jesus.
So
yeah.
with the archery stuff, so when you do like hand to hand or sword and sword or whatever, sorry, I don't mean to say whatever. I just don't know much about it.
No, you're good.
You're
Yeah.
actually with a sword and hitting somebody. So with archery, are you actually launching stuff at people, or how does that work?
Hold on, I actually have an arrow somewhere.
Because I imagine you can't fucking like shoot like a pointy fucking arrow at somebody.
No,
It's
but
gotta
they're like foam
like
pads.
a foam tipped or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a foam fist, pretty much.
Gotcha.
And in most games, these are legal for headshots too, so you can shoot people in the head with these.
Nice.
Which is arguably one of the most satisfying things that I've ever done in my life. It's like, oh hey, I hate that guy.
Well, let's see the other costumes here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like what's your favorite costume?
It's probably my orc, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it. Is that the one over the shoulder of the?
Right here,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll bring him out here in a second. The second one, I was running at somebody again in the woods, and she shot me in the face, and I bowled her over. It's always
the second time
archers.
that you hurt somebody on the.
Yeah. It's always the archers. I don't know. It's just like, get out of the way, man.
At least she hit you in the face to like get some
Just
sort
slow
of
me down?
Your vision.
Well,
maybe?
I was gonna say get pre-revenge, but yeah, we can do that too.
It worked, yeah. All right, this one I'm definitely gonna need 2 hands. This is heavy. All right, is that visible enough? Not
I think
there.
so. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It looks
Oh
great.
my goodness.
I'll angle the camera down a little bit. This is the only kit that I have that I've made everything on.
You made everything on that.
Yep. Except the riveted chain. I cut up another shirt to use that, but yeah. So that's.
Still.
I can send you guys pictures if you want to like add pictures into the actual
we
podcast.
could do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
do
if
that.
that would
We
work.
can also post it to like our Instagram and tag, LARP USA on it and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be
be
awesome.
Incredible.
Um,
Holy crap. So
what do you do for
is
the
it like 3D printed stuff as well, or are they like modded like Halloween masks or
this is actually leather.
Oh my god.
You stitched it yourself.
I did. Yep.
That's crazy.
So I used to I used to Steel Reserve, man. Woo. They know what they're doing.
All of that carbonation, dude. Dude, that's insane.
That thing is
Yeah,
so
so-
cool.
I'm actually in the process of getting a silicone mask so that I don't have to. This one, silicone masks just look a little bit more real. But yeah, so I actually used to, and I kind of still do occasionally, like make and sell these as a hobby. That's not sitting right. That's fine. I'll just take it off. That's brass. It weighs a ton. But yeah, so I would say this is my favorite kit. Is Droog. He's a constant work in progress.
That is so cool.
So
Yeah,
what do you
and
do for the bottom half here? Do you just paint to your face, or do you wear something on the bottom half of your jaw, or?
I typically paint it. Yeah. So now I'm all dirty. There's the paint right there. I'll rub it in a little bit. Yeah. So my old mask, actually, the one that I wore for years, was a Goblin Mask with like a short nose and like an orc jawbone stretched over it. I'll grab it. I have it. Hold on.
Sweet.
I might as well.
God, the details on these things are incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, like the stickiness wears off eventually. It's driving me
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, I have like a pinched nerve in my neck, and I'm wearing these like heated pads right now, and they keep coming unstuck. It's driving me crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see it.
This is my first one,
Dope.
and it's same thing. All of it's leather.
That is so insane.
Yeah. So what's with the crown on both of those? Then is it like a big character or
Kinda, yeah. So actually,
or I
I'm
guess
glad
like
you asked that.
yeah, I was gonna say one of our questions was, do you like have set characters? Which I think you've already answered that yes, you do. But so your characters can they bump up in like status or anything like that, or do you stay like in that same character? We
Uh,
don't know. I've never done this before. LARPing.
My closest thing to compare to is like, Dungeons and Dragons, where like you have a character and like as you play different games or in this instance, different events, like does the character develop more,
Because you did say
get
that you
more
have
armor
written
and
a
stuff
couple
like
of
that?
these. Yeah.
And also like with your human character, you said he started out with like cheaper armor than grew. Is that pretty standard? Like with,
I
especially with
would
like
say
your
it
orc
is.
too.
Yeah, excuse me. I would say it definitely is. And I know it varies by game very much so. Like what kind of authority your character has. I know there are games that don't necessarily allow player characters to like, rise up to be like a king because it becomes potentially problematic problematic is probably the wrong word, but if somebody is, a king and they're like trying to use real world, this is really messing with my exposure here. He is very dark colored. Um, my face just keeps changing color. Uh, like it really depends on the game and on the setting. I know like Dystopia Rising, they actually I keep wanting to say they just started in Michigan, but I think it happened just before COVID, which is why I haven't actually taken part. But it's like from my understanding, it's like a post-apocalyptic zombie sort of situation.
Ooh,
And I've heard
that's
stories
cool.
about yeah, and it sounds amazing. And I've heard stories about people that go there to be NPCs and are just like they don't charge anything for NPCs because you just have to follow like a story. So that would be the situation like in Hawkeye where they give you the scroll. That would be like an NPC role, which is
Mm,
obviously like a non-player character. So it's like you
Okay.
have to do pretty much this thing that they want you to do in order to drive the story in a way that goes the direction they want.
sure.
Um, so in a situation like that, I think you could show up to a game and be like, "Yeah, I want to be an NPC," and they're like, "Okay, cool, you're a baron or a king or something like that." There are games, and this is another one where they're very strict on the whole "we're not a LARP" thing. But the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, they do like baronies and like that kind of thing, where like it's like earned titles and knighthoods and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Um, so it definitely is possible, but I would say it depends on the game, very much so.
Cool.
I know knighthoods exist in most medieval games. There's some sort of assembly where they get together and like figure out how they want to do it. I'm a squire. I think that's the term. Man, my squire trial was brutal as hell. I did over 400 single combat fights with just a sword, and I ran like 6 miles in between. It was disgusting. My right or my left arm looked like it had been run over multiple times. It
Oh my
was
goodness.
like seriously like black, blue, just bruised because I was using it as a shield to protect myself so I could kill people. It was crazy.
That is crazy.
Also, that's when I sprained my wrist. So
That's not. Was there a third costume, or was the other one that you showed us just now the third costume that I saw?
so there is a third costume, but it's a work in progress. It's for a game
Okay.
called Reckoning.
You don't have to show it to us, but tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my character, Madiash Rahim. He's the one of three culture leaders for a game called Reckoning, and the culture is called Suzak Mar. It's like a Persian slash Eastern Asian inspired culture. So it's like just sort of like a pseudo Persian Japanese. We cover a large spectrum of influences, but it's all like fantasy. So I'm actually hoping that I can build some armor that looks a little bit more Japanese for my arms and my legs, and then my torso is like a blackened steel lamellar with like a really ornate leather edging. And then I'm honestly, I just get way in. I get in over my head pretty much constantly. I'm like, oh yeah, I have all
I
the
can
time in
tell
the
how
world.
passionate you are about it. Like you really,
COVID
you're
was the
really
best
going.
and
I
worst
mean,
thing to
yeah, it's
happen
awesome.
to me. COVID was like, oh yeah, like cool, like just sit in your house and work on shit. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then they called me back to work, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna stop sitting in my house working on shit. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's badass, dude. Well, speaking of Marvel, I think Chad had a question about the Marvel stuff. We're
Well,
not technically Marvel, but
well, yeah, not technically Marvel, but I mean, it's just one of those questions that we tend to ask, most of our guests. With, and I think that because Hawkeye has had, that LARPing scene outside of LARP, like, do you have a favorite, like, comic book hero, superhero, things like that, or like superhero movie? Like, do you have a favorite? We just love to hear
we
what it
ask
is and why.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's what we do here.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a difficult question for me. So I'm not a huge comic book guy, but I have seen every Marvel film and I know a little bit about it. I mean, I used to watch Spider-Man and all that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And like considering the overlap, I don't know. I was gonna say Gambit from X-Men.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But I don't know. I feel like they haven't really done him all that much justice in the cinematic universe.
Not
Like,
in the cinemas, you know.
good
yeah,
show.
yeah. So it's
In
like
the comics, though, he was great. Yeah,
he's a badass. Yeah, like I would love
he
to see
literally
that.
could turn anything he touches into an explosive.
It's
awesome.
like the coolest power. Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah. So I would say I would probably stick with that. If I had to pick like from the cinematic universe, I think it would be probably Spider-Man. I think.
Spider-Man's
Yeah.
my favorite superhero.
Yeah, like man, the new trailer for it's multiverse, right?
It's the
No Way
Spider-Man
Home, but
No
it
Way
ties
Home.
into
But
No
yeah.
Way Home, that's it. Yeah,
The
yeah. Like the
multi-
part where Doc Ock comes out and he's like, "Hello, Peter." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, "Oh hell yeah!"
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so stoked for that movie. I used to go with a group of friends. We would go every midnight release for every Marvel movie. We haven't done that in 2 or 3 years, but yeah.
I'm some people give me shit about it because it's super cliche, but my reasoning for it is different than people think it is. But Superman is my favorite. Everyone's like, oh, he's the lamest superhero because he's just like the best at everything. But the reason I love Superman so much is because his dynamic between him and his villain, Lex Luthor, is like the complete opposite of Superman in every aspect of the way. And I love that it's like a human is able to take down Superman. Like, I don't know, it's cool.
Excuse me.
Superman's
badass. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I never understood the hate with Superman either, honestly. I watched that cartoon
he's
when I was
like
a kid
so strong and blah blah blah, and I get it, but like,
and they've amplified different versions of his powers over the years, but like I feel like most the interpretations that we've gotten of Superman have been really good. Watching Smallville for the first time.
He's all alone here. He's trying to
Are you drinking Two Hearted? Is that what that is? Oh hell yeah.
That's my favorite beer for sure.
My girlfriend drank the last one in the fridge last night. I think she bought it, so it's okay. But
so you went to Steel Reserve, yeah. Steel Reserves are harsh, dude.
It's honestly I haven't had one in a minute, but we for
that's
whatever
like
reason.
Liquor, right?
Yeah. For whatever reason, this weekend we just decided we were just going to be as trashy as possible. So we went to Speedway at 1 a.m. and bought like the Steel Reserve Blue Raspberry with like a Mountain Dew slushy, and like we were mixing it together. Like it's like 3 a.m. I
didn't know they made a Blue Raspberry. Is that what that
delicious. This is just the regular one.
Okay.
Because I was like, Blue Raspberry, it's going to we gross, and then it wasn't. It was delicious. So
that's funny.
I wish I had 2 of those, but
that's hilarious. Yeah. No, me and my girlfriend, when we go to the movies, we get slushies, and we always bring like some sort of like either like a sour or like a fruited beer with us, and then we just poured in the slushy and drank it while we're watching the movie.
It's a super good idea. I tried to convince her to try the regular Steel Reserve in a slushy last night, but she wasn't having it.
Oh, that'd be wild. Well, I think that other than our last question, which Chad will ask you, but I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to touch on.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, I mean, Joel, how can people find you online?
If you want to be found.
If not you, how can people find, more about LARP USA, get involved? What are good places that people can look to get started in this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't really know if there's any like general area right now where somebody could like one website where somebody could visit to find all the different LARP games that exist. But I would suggest checking out reckoninglarp.com. That's the next big one that I'll be at, and that's in May, I believe. Whatever weekend the 12th and or the 14th falls on. Reckoning is going to be the next big one that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, check out LARP USA on Instagram. I'm in the process of developing a website, but it's not there yet. This is just something I'm doing for fun.
I'm gonna follow that on Insta right now.
And if you want to find me on Instagram, my username is Mr. Sneaker with 2 R's at the end, and you'll see Reginald here and Droog as well. Okay. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. And then honestly, shoot LARP USA a message, shoot me a message on my personal Instagram, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and what's that email address for? Is it the one that we've been communicating over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Contact at LARP USA, LARP-USA.com.
Well, awesome. I mean, are there any closing words that you'd like to share with people that are interested in LARP after this?
Let's see. Closing words. No, I didn't really prepare anything. I would I don't want you guys to get like sued or anything, but like just do it.
I think it'd be fun if Chad and I were ever in the same area, because I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Chad's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. But if you guys ever do anything out this way, you should throw. I follow you, and our podcast now follows you. Shoot us a message. I think it would be really fun to give it a shot. I've never done it before.
Yeah, this sounds like a lot of fun.
I think it'd be fucking fun, dude. Yeah.
It would be amazing to have you guys. I'm constantly recruiting. Constantly looking for people. I would say, actually, you know what? I do have some thoughts. I do have some closing thoughts. Let me set this helmet down though. So the biggest thing that I get from everybody, and it's always like relatively new people or people that have been doing this for a while that are kind of like convinced of one thing or another. It's not as expensive as you're expecting it to be. Obviously, like putting together a kit like what I have for Reginald, where I dropped a few $100 on a set of spring steel arms because I had big kid money. Like obviously that's the exception. Majority of people don't do that kind of thing. I can't say majority. I can't speak for everybody. I know a lot of people that do. But like, there's always people that want you to be there and want you to have a good time. So if you're reaching out to the right people, network a little bit, you can figure out the best way to make a kit and for the least amount of money. I encourage everybody to thrift to find base kit. Like all of that is very achievable. And it's never as expensive as you're going to expect it to be. Yeah, so that's my big takeaway. That's what I tell everybody. Like that's the thing that I hear the most is like, oh well, I can't afford it. And I guarantee, like, as long as you're not trying to build like a fucking full night kit and ride a horse for your first event, it's affordable. I promise you. And you know what? If you're not sure how to do it, like reach out to somebody that does it already, and I guarantee they'll help you. We have an incredible community in the United States.
Awesome.
And it just needs to kind of be tapped into. It just takes a little bit of footwork to get connected to the right people, but it exists. There are selling pages, there are trading pages, all kinds of things. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, let us know. We'll keep in contact. Like I said, I think it'd be a lot of fun to try it. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I
Chad,
live-
where are
right
you
away,
located?
but-
I live
yeah,
just south
it'd be-
of Cleveland, so like Indiana.
Oh, dude, I know tons of people in
super
Cleveland that do
close.
this.
And also, if you end up going out to the Pennsylvania one, like I would love to, to give it a shot. It sounds like a lot of fun.
And Chad
Yeah.
and I are super cool about like we're very good friends actually, and we live in different states, but we're very good about flying back and forth to see each other. So if there's ever something that we could do that and then go together, like I'm down.
Yeah.
I think
Well, hear me out.
it sounds like fun.
Kalamazoo has an airport, and Bell's is here. So if you just want to drink Two Hearted, like from the teat, like come to Kalamazoo. You guys can meet in the middle. It'll be a great time.
Sold.
Perfect.
You had me sold with beer from the teat.
Yeah. Especially
yeah.
Bells. Yeah. But I think that's all we got for you for today. That was awesome. It was very nice to meet you, Joel.
Yeah, good to meet you guys as well.
Yeah.
This was awesome. I was a little nervous. I didn't know what to expect. So.
Yeah, we just get drunk and talk shit. It's a good time.
That's like what we do.
Perfect.
All
All
right.
right, man. Well, have a good night. We will keep in touch. I follow you both, myself and on the podcast now, so we'll figure something out. Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun to try it out,
Absolutely.
especially for
Hell
the
yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for filling us in, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, catch you guys
Have a
later.
good night. Yep.
Yeah,
Later.
you too.
Holy shit, that was an awesome interview. That was awesome. I don't think I've ever actually given any thought into LARPing until just now, but I feel like maybe I kind of want to go beat the shit out of people. But
with
also
foam
like
swords.
maybe like get my ass kicked. Who knows? From the way he made it sound, I mean, yeah, man, that sounds fucking fun, dude.
We're gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
When we figure it out, we will let you guys know, and we'll film what we can, and you can watch us just get
Joel said he
destroyed.
has plenty of extra shit for us to wear if we ever go LARPing, and I think it would be
Fuck it, I'm gonna make my own.
for the sake of the podcast and for fun.
Yeah,
I
for
think-
the
I
sake of the
think-
podcast, not because we want to do this.
I think we should fucking do it. I think it'd be fun.
It's not a matter of I think, it's the matter of when are we doing this.
Yeah, I think this sounds like a lot of fun. That being said, let's get into sponsor 2. Sponsor 2
Yeah.
is Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up, and we will tell you a little more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. All right, guys, for the last segment of our show this week, we do want to talk about the new Disney Plus show. They launched their first 2 episodes this week, and it is Hawkeye.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner is a Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Oh, you said Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also Jeremy Renner. Yeah.
yes. Also Jeremy Renner. But no, so like this past week, the show launched on Disney Plus, and they put out the first 2 episodes, which was great because after the first episode, I was like, I need more of this hot guy.
And then there was
Hawkeye,
more of
of this Hawkeye. Sorry, it's a Freudian slip, really. I'm sorry, Mom. No, but we did get 2 episodes, which was fantastic because the first one definitely laid the groundwork as to who Kate Bishop is.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Kate Bishop is kind of like the protege replacement in a way of Clint Barton, Hawkeye. She kind of becomes her own thing, but she starts off by like idolizing him, which is kind of cool because Hawkeye has always kind of been an underrated hawk guy.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Hot guy.
This
Hot
is going to
guy?
be confusing because like there's so many ways to describe him and they're all accurate. He is a guy that is part hawk. He is a guy that is also hot, and he's Hawkeye.
Yeah, he's hot guy.
Yeah.
Hot guy.
Yeah. Hot guy, Hawkeye.
I think
Yes.
what I love about Kate Bishop is that she is clumsy as fuck.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't know what she's doing.
Like, as where Hot Guy is very
Jeremy
collected,
Renner.
got his stuff together. Hawk.
He's a hot hawk. Eye guy.
No, all this aside, the jokes aside, Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye is very. I said it right that time. It just sounded.
I know. That's why I always make these jokes because like it just blends.
He's very articulate. He's very like on point with everything, and Kate Bishop is not. She's clumsy. She's a mess. Everything she does.
She's sarcastic and a rogue kind of person.
She's very cocky, but like and while her like shot, arrow shot is very good, she as a hero is horrible.
Yeah, she's a fly by the seat of your pants kind of like personality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this happened. Let's figure it out as it goes on.
Her fight scenes are very Jackie Chan to me. Jackie Chan's always like, ooh, oh, ooh, and then like kind of like, you know what I mean?
Gets hit in the face, but because he stumbles back, it creates like the next catastrophe that works in his favor.
Exactly, yeah. It's very much like that to me. It's very funny. I also think that that we have to talk about this because our guest Joel on this episode is a LARPer. In the second episode, Jeremy Renner's character Clint Barton finds his Ronin suit in a LARP competition and goes to retrieve it, and it is fucking hilarious. And we found out, which you will see in the interview that we did, that having a extra what do he call it, a loner suit,
loner gear,
is a real thing. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, that looks like a lot of fun, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the gear, you can actually just walk up to them and ask if anybody has some loaner gear, and they'll loan you gear to just fucking jump into a LARPing situation, which is what Jeremy Renner does in this episode, and it's hilarious.
From what we learned from the interview, though, was that some aspects of it are very real life. Some of it is very not real life. Like, basically, they just... The people that created this or wrote this scene basically took what they knew about LARPing without ever having LARPed and like wrote a scene about it.
Yeah.
Still wildly entertaining. And what's fun is like as Jeremy Renner's Clint Barton is going through this, like this scene and LARPing, like you actually see him like enjoy himself because like there's no consequences. Like it's just he gets to like use his skill set, but not in a destructive way. Which,
and he even says at the end of it, he was like, the guy with the Ronin suit was like, "You had fun, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was fun."
Yeah, because also like up until this point, like the last time we saw Clint was in Endgame, and for the first like the 5 years during the blip, he was the Ronin. He was using his skill set just to create havoc and kill and murder. Granted, bad people.
Yeah.
But now he gets to use like these skill sets that he's developed over like a lifetime to just like have fun. And it was really cool to see. Which, I mean, but it also really dives into the aspect of, and it talks about it in the episode where Kate Bishop is like, you know what your problem as a superhero is your branding. And he's like, I don't care about branding. Like, to Clint, he's always been the soldier. Like, follow the orders, do the job. I've got a job to do. But, like, he still has this huge impact on people as a hero. And, like, even the LARP scene, like, this guy who had his costumes, like, I'm sorry, I found it. He's like, since you're here, like, can I kill you on the battlefield and, like, let people see it? Because, like, Clint is a hero to so many people, but he just doesn't know because he takes it as it's a job. Then I move on. I have to do this, this, and this, and then I get to go see my family. He doesn't get to see the impact that he has, which is really cool.
We also get to see, which this is comic accurate, that Clint is going deaf.
Yeah, he has hearing aids or hearing aid.
Yeah, which is pretty funny because there's like a part where, well, this is going to tie into something else that we wrote down here. The Avengers, the musical, is a thing.
I think it's the Steve Rogers musical. It's all about Captain America, but they have the Battle of New York as a big musical number.
But they're watching it, and Clint has his hearing aid turned off, and his daughter is like, "Is your hearing aid turned off?" And he's like, "No," and turns it back on. It's pretty funny.
She's trying to get his attention, like waves in front of his face, and he's like, "What?" And like taps his ear, and she's like, "Did you have your ears turned off?" And he's like, "What? No."
And yeah, I mean, maybe I don't think this is off script a little bit, but I don't think my girlfriend is gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because the past two big Marvel things have been Eternals, which one of the main characters is deaf.
Makari is deaf,
and that was fucking amazing. And also in this, Clint is also deaf. I feel like it's worth mentioning. Maybe she's gonna get mad at me. I don't know. My girlfriend is also deaf, so I think this is like a really cool thing to see on the big screen that people, well, and especially the girl who plays Makari, is deaf in real life.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I'm gonna stick my foot in my mouth and probably stop there, but. This is really cool for me. I think for me, it's really cool. I hope it's really cool for my girlfriend as well. And I love her to death. But yeah, anyways.
Aww.
I think I maybe said too much. Hopefully she doesn't get mad. But yeah, anyways, I think it's really cool. And yeah, so he's deaf and it's comic accurate. I think it's pretty cool.
And they didn't dive too much into the cause of his loss of hearing.
Not yet. I think they will.
They showed flashbacks of like just like his time as an Avenger, being near explosions, getting shot, things like that. And depending on the comic book story that you look at, I mean, that is very accurate for some of the newer comics, and it's awesome because like it shows that anyone, you don't have to be like, and this is something that Falcon the Winter Soldier really dived into, is like you don't have to be like this perfect person to be a hero. You don't have to be I'm gonna quote the show, but like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed hero. Like anyone can be a hero. Anyone can take up the mantle and do good and inspire, and they're already playing into it really well.
To quote Stan Lee, the man himself, the point of Spider-Man was that he's the only hero that is completely covered. You can't see the color of his skin, and that is what was so special about him, is that anybody could be under the mask. And that's why they say it in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
anyone can wear the mask. It doesn't matter what skin color you are, what gender you are. Anybody could be Spider-Man, and that's from the lips of Stan Lee, the creator of all this shit himself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the Amazing Spider-Man. Anyways,
Where's Toby? Where's Andrew? Are they here? Are they here right now?
It's. I mean, yeah, it's great. I love all this shit. I do think that in this show, Hawkeye, I think that the mom,
Oh,
what's her name?
she's straight bad.
She's bad.
I don't know her name either. I should know.
I know her name. She's from the Conjuring movies.
Oh, you mean her actual name? I also don't know
Yeah.
that
I do know, and it's gonna piss me off that I can't think of it. Anyways, but yeah, she's in it. I'm gonna pull it up. You talk. I'm gonna look for it.
Oh, that's what I was gonna do right now. She definitely has like villain vibes. She also. So the first episode shows that Kate Bishop's father,
Via Farmiga.
Via Farmiga. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That Kate Bishop's biological father in the show dies during the Battle of New York because of collateral damage.
Does he? I have a theory.
You have a theory?
They don't show him die. They
show his body. They show his body. Well, because in the comics, Kate Bishop's like greatest enemy is her father.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to rework it to be her mother.
Yeah, could be.
They're also hinting. They're definitely playing into the fact that her new stepdad is going to be the villain. He does have the most punchable face since John Walker. Sorry, just had to be said. But like, she even sees him doing sketchy stuff, and she's like,
"Yeah,
what are you doing, stepdad?" Sorry, mom. But no, like in the comics, his character is known as the Swordsman.
Yeah,
it shows him going to a black market auction to get the Ronin sword, and then shortly after that, it shows that his father was murdered by a sword.
They have an interesting fight together, Kate Bishop and him, where they're basically fencing, and he keeps like letting her win, and she's like, "Stop letting me win," and he's like, "I'm not letting you win. You're better than me." And then when he lets his guard down, she basically goes to stab him in the face, and he disarms her in like a second. And and her mom like flips out and is like, "What is wrong with you?" And she goes, "I just proved my point. He's been faking it."
Yeah,
like,
I just proved that he's a liar.
Yeah. So he's a bad guy. I think mom is a bad guy.
She's in on it. She has to be.
Yeah, but I don't think she's in on it at a villain level. I think she's in on it on like I'm a stupid twat level. And then like she's gonna find out later on, like, oh,
and then play the Vanessa to Kingpin role and just embrace it.
I didn't know that he was this bad. Yeah.
No,
you know
I think that she's gonna be like, oh, he's this bad, and there's power to be had. I'm for it.
Oh, you think it's gonna be like that?
That's why I referenced Vanessa to Kingpin. That's Kingpin's wife. Speaking of Kingpin, the end of episode 2.
Nice transition.
Thanks.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did what I could. We see that Clint's been taken hostage by the Tracksuit Mafia, which are Russian
idiots
fraternity. Basically, they keep calling them bro.
They're
they're not great.
The only reason they caught Clint is because Clint basically let them catch him.
Yeah, he basically set himself up.
Yeah.
So that he could interrogate them through an interrogation. He did very much a Black Widow.
They did it in Black, or not in Black Widow, the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, and then they reference it again in the Black Widow film.
Yeah.
But, so, in the comics, the Tracksuit Mafia definitely works for Kingpin. And then at the end of it, we haven't gotten her name yet, but she's like the boss of the Tracksuit Mafia. She's
blind.
Is she blind?
She's blind.
She's sitting in a room with like stereo speakers, like feeling like vibrations and stuff like that. And the only reason that we know that it's Echo is because we got a confirmation on Disney Plus Day that the spin-off from Hawkeye's spin-off from the Avengers for Echo. But in the comics, Echo is the adoptive daughter of Kingpin, and then she basically has a change of heart and joins like the Young Avengers because she doesn't want to work for her dad anymore as a villain. But we get a glimpse of her in the last few seconds of the episode, of the second episode, and then it cuts, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I was really nervous about the show because of how much they played it out to be like it's a Christmas show.
Thank God it is not.
Yeah. I was really, it's as much, well, I'm going to bite my tongue on this after I say it. It's as much of a Christmas show as Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Die Hard is 100% a Christmas movie because of the plot and the story behind it. But the actual movie has very little to do with Christmas. It's just a driving factor for the character development. And I think that's exactly what this show is.
Yeah.
It's the Avengers Die Hard.
Yeah.
I just need Clint to say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Well,
oh, that would be so good.
it would be hilarious. Or if he's like,
Even if he just says
yippee-ki-yay.
yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, they're not going to have him say motherfucker.
Yeah.
They're going to wait for like the right moment to drop an F-bomb in an Avengers
That'd be so awesome.
thing.
But
I do hope that he's like being covert and being like a jackass and just like yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah.
I bet they will, because that's too on the nose for them not to do it.
But yeah, I think that's enough this week.
Yeah, I mean that's very much. I mean those are some huge points. Obviously, there's so much more into the show, so like go watch it
and stay tuned. Oh, also spoiler alert! Now that we're at the end of the fucking episode.
I love it. Yeah, if you guys made it this far and you haven't watched it and you didn't stop, that's on you. But also, spoiler alert, I guess.
Stay tuned because we'll do a week by week with this show.
Yeah.
Along with some other stuff. As you guys know, December has
a lot.
Ton of shit coming out. West Side Story, Matrix Resurrections, Spider-Man No Way Home. We're gonna keep going with the Hawkeye show. There's a ton to cover coming up. So
yeah. So keep up on your releases as well, because we're gonna be talking about a lot of it. But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and close out this episode.
But before we do, we want to talk about a couple things, like our Patreon page.
Yeah, so if you guys like what we're doing here and you want to support us, the easiest and best way to do it is to join our Patreon page.
Give us money.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We have different levels of monetary giving with different reward levels. But basically, it allows us to do what we do and will allow us to do more than what we are currently doing. Also, you get unedited versions of all of our interviews. There's just a lot there.
Yeah. The reason that was a joke is because so far, Chad and I and a couple other people are the only ones who put money into this. So when we do these episodes, or we give out prizes, or we do games and shit like that, it's because Chad and I put our own money into this podcast. So if you feel like supporting us because you like what we're doing, check out the Patreon and we'll hook you up with some cool shit for some basically donated money by you.
Yeah, there's exclusive merch. There's behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot more that we want to try and get in there once we have a few more people that are participating.
Yeah.
On top of that, we also have our web store. The link is in our bio. So if you don't want to do like a monthly thing, we totally get it. But if you want to wear some cool merch, we've got that as well. And if you have suggestions on what kind of merch you want to see, let us know. We'll hook you up too.
See if we can make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. As well as that, I mean, follow us on all of our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.
We haven't been very productive on TikTok.
I don't think we've done anything on TikTok since
we
Comic-Con.
need to be. I made a TikTok actually not that long ago.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like, I made one. Like, it wasn't for the podcast, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, go check us out on that stuff. We love you guys very much. Thank you for tuning in. This is fun. I mean, that's all this has ever been for us.
This is what it comes down to. Is this is what we enjoy doing, and if you enjoy it, come along for the ride.
Yeah.
With that being said,
you say it. Yeah.
This has been the All Things Nerd podcast.
You looked at me like you wanted me to
you
say
guys.
it. And I was like, no.